Hiya, Peter. Delighted to be having a second chat with you. Myself and Steve Evans here.
Oh yeah, well,
Hi,
thank you very much for
Peter.
having me back on.
Yeah, it's good to see you again. In fact, I don't think we've spoke since the last chat, to be honest. I know you've been busy since then. A lot going on, which we'll come on to in a minute. So I was going to say, how's life in Liverpool? Since I'm on the Wirral and Terry's in Liverpool and so are you are, it's a bit pointless question, really. So, but you can remind us. I know you do all these podcasts and writing some books and all the other things you do, bit of TV, bit of radio. What hobbies do you have outside of writing? Is it all LFC related, or do you have anything that takes you totally out of it altogether so you can chill and forget about it?
Maybe footy. I had to play I've got a 6-a-side team, so I play footy twice a week. So I distracted myself with footy from footy. So yeah, I don't know, play on my PS5 a bit as well. But yeah, no, I'm that's mainly FIFA. So basically, yeah, I'm just a bit sad, and it's all about footy, really.
That's fine.
Hey, nothing sad about it.
No,
Don't apologise.
no.
Yeah. Don't blame you. Don't blame you at all.
To be admired. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Pete, so far you've published 2 books, all with the football Liverpool related theme. Little at 100 and now Crossing the Park, which is available to pre-order and to be launched very soon. Remind us about the Little book. Just tell us about that. How well did that go?
Well, it depends what you mean by well. Obviously it was my first book, so just to be able to write it was good. I don't know again how many's good. I think it did like over 1,000 sales, so
that's good. That was really good.
Yeah, happy with that. And it did quite well as well in the second year, so I was happy that when that's done. So hopefully it's something that can keep ticking over. But yeah, obviously that was just about celebrating his 100 years since he was born, and obviously I found me auntie is friends with his sister Billy Liddell, so it was nice to have that little insight of it. And it's a bit different to this one because obviously I had not like a lot of the work done for me because I still had a lot of stuff to do, but a lot of the last one was people talking about Billy Liddell and the memories, and I could use that to turn it into a book. But this one's been a lot more maybe organically research myself and having to do maybe more of the hard work than the last one was. But yeah, obviously both on the football and history to a degree, style, and that was the same theme really. But yeah, they have been very different in terms of writing them.
I think both of them excellent Christmas gift type of books as well. That's the time my missus buys me them at that time of year, those type of books.
Is right, yeah.
For all years as well.
Yeah. The second book, Crossing the Park, I mean, it could be about a lot of people. I don't know. I'm at a disadvantage here. I'm not sure because I've not even looked at it or had a preview or sneak preview of. So what is it about? I can think of a lot of people spring straight to mind. So tell us a bit more about it.
Yeah, so obviously, simply, it's just the players who have played for both Liverpool and Everton, and obviously just telling the story of their lives, and obviously through Liverpool and Everton playing for both sides. But I think obviously the more I got into it, the more I did, it turned into basically the tale of the rivalry between Liverpool and Everton, how it was friendly, not friendly, and where it is now, and just interesting how each different transfer has a different reaction from the last one, and that you look at like Nick Barmby, for example, and the whole city was in turmoil over what had happened there. But then Alba Xavier moves a few months later, and hardly anyone's bothered. So there's no real rhyme or reason as to what the reaction is for each one, and that's why I wanted to look into them all. Obviously, just by doing those 34 men, it takes us from Liverpool's first ever game in 1892 up to Conor Cody today. So it really is just the history of both clubs, just told by the lives of 34 men, really.
Yeah, I was thinking it might be purely about Rafa to start with, but then having a chat with Terry, I know now that it's not. So Terry's going to come on to that, I think. Aren't you, Terry?
Yeah. How did you get Rafa to do the forward in the book, Pete?
Yeah, so I can think I originally got in touch with yourself through trying to get a hold of Jimmy Mealy for Little at 100. Obviously, that was a big help, and thank you again.
No, appreciate it.
But for this one, it was just trying to get hold of someone, and I did have him in my head that he'd be the perfect person for the forward. So to get that person was obviously great, and yeah, it was a lot of hard work and persistence. So I drove to his house a few times, which I managed to find, and
Over in the middle.
posted letters. Yeah.
West Derby. Yeah,
Knocked on his door. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's quite a nice one, isn't it? It's up on a hill and looking nice. I don't know if I should advertise this too much, but he was basically got to speak to one of his maids or sort of worked there, and she helped me out. And then I wrote a few letters, went back and forth a few times, and I think giving him a copy of Little at 100 might sweeten the deal a bit. And he thankfully said yes, and he wrote it in Spanish, and I had to wait for it to be translated, which I thought was mad, seeing the fact, as far as I know, he can't speak quite good English. But it was just do that basically. Yeah, so hard work and persistence is the simple answer to how I got hold of him. But yeah, it took a while, but I got there.
I don't know if I've had the nerve to knock on his front door, even though I know where it is. Has he still got a red door? Or maybe we shouldn't go into all that. People find out where he lives.
I never got too close to his door. Yeah, it was like, what is it, the water around it, and then you had to get through. You had the gated place and the turret and all that I had to get through to get there. But yeah, it was he was kind enough to do it. So yeah, I do really appreciate it.
Excellent. That's really good. Excellent stuff. We had a chat with Jeff Goulding not long ago. I think it was about a month ago now.
Yeah.
And he told us about his collaboration with Kieran, Kieran Smith. I mean, we've spoke to Jeff twice now as well. George Scott, who he actually, incidentally, I was talking to George Scott the other week. I bumped into him in Bromber, and George said he only actually met Jeff 3 times writing that book. And the rest of it was all done on email and all that. So it's quite incredible. But have you always worked alone on your writing? Have you fancied working with a partner or a collaboration or someone else as a ghostwriter or anything like that? Or you just prefer it as it is on your own?
Yeah, well, this is where the magic happens in my garage here. I've tidied it up a bit, but this is basically what I do. I just sit here and stare at this screen I'm looking at now and try and hope something good happens. But I don't know. I would never say never. It's never really something I've considered, to be honest. Like, maybe I need someone because deadlines. I just seem to. I wait till it's the deadline before I start doing stuff. I can never get myself going beforehand. But then I think I work better when I'm up against it, type thing. So it's a bit of a tough one. Maybe I need someone to come whip me into shape a bit. But my missus give me like a little calendar, and I have to do certain points by this day and this time, and she give me like a little revision calendar. So that certainly helps. And maybe I just need a PA rather than an assistant, but to write with. But no, I like doing it, to be honest with you, and I quite like doing the writing, and obviously the football history side of it's something that interests me. So it's something. As I say, I enjoy doing it. So, if someone wants to, they're very welcome to ask if they want to write with me. But yeah, I'm quite happy. Quite happy doing it on my own, I think, at the moment.
Yeah, you need a volunteer PA or a prompter, don't you? Just to dig it in ribs, say, "Come on, get some words down on that page," rather than leaving it all till tomorrow night when you're up there in the midnight oil trying to do 5,000 words at the last minute or whatever.
I can certainly do with that. Yeah.
Go back to Crossing the Park. Tell us when you're having the launch. Where is it and what time it's on?
Yeah, so it's the 28th of April, which is a Friday night. Liverpool playing Tottenham on the Sunday. I think it's the bank holiday Monday as well, so it's a good weekend. It's a
Coronation weekend, is it? That weekend?
I think it's the week before, so I think it's that one before. But it's the early May bank holiday. So there's 3 bank holidays in May, so lots of excuses to go out. But yeah, so it's got Kevin Sheedy and Steve McMahon coming. So obviously they're 2 of the players who have played for both Liverpool and Everton.
Across the park, yeah.
Crossing the park, yeah. It's good. Someone should write a book about that. And I got and I'm raising money for fan support and food banks. That's obviously the main reason for it, really. So obviously you're just covering the cost of the night and everything, but everything else other than that is going towards them. And I've got like a raffle where I've got quite a lot of prizes, sort of like signed memorabilia, and I've got like Radio City Tower afternoon tea, got loads of stuff lined up, and it's hosted by Farrell, who I think you've had on here.
Yeah, we have.
We work for Empire of the KOP.
Yeah.
He's doing like a Q&A with us, then we've got a musician on, and I've got food there and all that. So hopefully it should be a good night. Yes, 7 o'clock, Hotel Anfield, 28th of April, and all the tickets are on Skiddle and everything. But if you just go through my website or find me on Twitter, whatever, Peter Kelly Jones, or if you just search Crossing the Park Skiddle, it'll come up on Google.
Okay, yeah,
So
that sounds superb.
It's on Anfield Road, that, isn't it? That is it, Hotel Anfield, yeah.
Yeah, Hotel Anfield, number 23, Anfield Road it is, yeah. So I think people may think that's very Liverpool-centric, which, of course, it kind of is, but my thought process was that's where the story started. So, you know, you're going to be on one side of it to cross it. So, you know, they both played there. I thought this was a good point to start the story of it. And I've certainly got enough Everton representation in there, and as much as I am a Liverpool fan myself, as you'll probably be able to tell from the background, but it's definitely not something that I push in the book. I've tried to be as neutral as possible throughout.
Okay.
Yeah, you tried to be unbiased, which is good. Good for the for the Everton supporter or the Everton fan, of course. Yeah, so they don't see it as like, yeah, you can tell who's a Liverpool fan. Yeah,
yeah. Well, I hope so. Anyway, yeah. I don't know. We'll find out after it comes out. But yeah, I've tried my best to be as neutral as possible.
Yeah, because you want to sell it to both fans, both sets of fans, don't you? You don't want it one side. You'll sell more that way.
Well, yeah, and also to be fair, when I started out, Stephen Dolan, I'm not sure if you spoke to him before from the
we haven't spoken to him.
Museum.
I know him. Yeah.
He one of the first things, because he helped me with my dissertation in uni, and one of the first things he said to me was that you can't be tribal. You can't just say I'm only ever going to do Liverpool, and that's something that has resonated with me really, because all through uni I did Liverpool and Everton 3 times, and obviously I've done it here again, and I've written about plenty of other clubs. I don't think I'd ever go as far as writing about United, but other than that, I'm happy to talk about all of it, because you know you should be able to separate it. And you know, I love it when Liverpool score, but I can also write about football history and football from any perspective, I hope. So this is something that I maybe tried to prove to myself with this book as well.
Yeah, I think you'd have to draw the line at United.
Yeah.
I agree. And I think it was the other way around. To be fair, it was the other way around. They would say exactly the same. So
that's fine. Yeah.
You mentioned it before, Empire of the KOP, and I know you do frequent podcasts from there. Are you working full time as a football historian?
Yeah, so I'm self-employed, so I can work for whoever really. My full-time job is Empire of the KOP, so I spent like 5 days a week, 8 hours a day writing about Liverpool. So obviously, it's not the history side of it. That's what's going on right now. But yeah. So we do the podcast and all that. And obviously, I've got freedom to write about like historical pieces and stuff like that. We've got like a Substack where you can put maybe some of the longer pieces on. But yeah, so primarily at the moment, it's just Empire of the KOP and Liverpool stuff. But obviously, I try to do books on the side rather than maybe I used to do more articles, but do more long form stuff. But I can write and be involved with as many things as I want to, which is obviously something that's good. And yeah, I try and just dip my toe in as many things as possible. Just saying again, I don't want to be too tribal and paint myself as just a purely Liverpool writer, although you know I am a Liverpool fan, so it's all good. It's all fun stuff to do, and it's definitely to say it's what I do full time is something I dreamed of. So yeah, it is, boss.
Yeah. So going on to Liverpool this season, 4 questions in a one here really. One, what's your verdict on this season? Pretty low standards by LFC standards so far, in my opinion. Are we below par? Why are we below par? Did we get overworked last season? And finally, when you get round to it after all that, what do you think of the Jude Bellingham situation?
Yeah, so we'll start at the beginning. It's obviously not been the best season, has it? So it's one of them. You know, I was in Paris and I went to the cup finals last season, and I was every home match and stuff. So we all felt fully part of it, didn't we? And it was, you'd never have imagined that less than a year later will we get Conference League football and stuff like that would be the conversation. So it's fell off a cliff in a way to where we've been. But I think, you know, there is context to it all. And, you know, I think Luis Diaz is a huge one because people said we've missed Mane, and of course you would do because he's unbelievable. But, you know, he hasn't exactly done much at Bayern Munich other than punching his teammates. So we've got Luis Diaz, and I think it's massive for him not to be playing every week. And you know he has been missing since October, which is huge. And then we've had obviously Nunes and Gakpo, who are still definitely excited about the future of both of them, but they're both settling in. And I think again we had Diaz's settling in period, and I think they would have had less time on the pitch because they'd have been given time to settle in, which they haven't been able to. Then you've got the midfield, which, you know, I think there's a lot of things have been said about the midfield, but no, we tried to get Arthur Mello to fix an issue, and he's played 13 minutes as well. That could have been a masterstroke. He could have been someone who came in and was a great midfielder and changed it for us, but we haven't even seen him. So the one roll of the dice we made hasn't worked there, and of course again we've had injuries. But should we be surprised that Thiago and Naby Keita, you can't rely on them injury wise? I don't think that's much of a surprise to anyone, is it? So, and then Fabinho's gone from the best defensive midfielder player in the world to struggling to get past Bajcetic in our side. It's just there's so many things, isn't there?
What's happened to Fabinho?
God knows, and he's had a kid. We don't know how much impact that has off the pitch. Their personal lives are obviously important, aren't they? But it's just a lot of things. And obviously we brought in that Calvin Ramsey to give Trent competition, and he's been injured as well. And then Van Dijk hasn't looked himself, and it's obviously a lot of things come together. And I think the overarching thing is confidence, and we've lost our air of invincibility and the confidence we were playing with. So once all those get added together, as you say, you end up being in the position we're in. Question 2.
Behind the scenes, did you think there was anything going on or not? Or there's been whispers, haven't there? But I'm not convinced.
No, I think behind the scenes they'll be shouting and arguing with each other, but that's what we're all doing in the pub. So why wouldn't they be doing it in the dressing room as well? So there's obviously been upset, and there's a lot of things that have gone wrong. But I think, thankfully, us as fans, and say what you like about the owners, they've all stood by the manager. That there's never really been anything from inside the club or as the fans or anything asking for Klopp to go. And I think that would have been the worst thing that could have happened. And it's never really looked close, other than other reporters writing about it or stuff outside. So I think we've just got to stay strong and keep going and see what happens next summer. But then I'll go on to your last point, which is Jude Bellingham seemed to be what we were hanging our hat on, weren't we? And at the moment, it looks like it's not going to happen. But, we've seen with Van Dijk and Alisson and many others in the past that we've been ruled out and stuff still happened. I don't think Jude Bellingham knows where he's going to be playing next summer. Never mind us or anyone else. There's a long way to go. If you're looking at it now, you say he's probably not going to sign for us, but I don't think anything's sorted yet. I think there's a long way to go, and we'll see what happens. It's probably going to end up being that we sign 2 or 3 other midfielders. We can't budget to have him, but I was in work before. I was speaking to a couple of journalists, and they were saying he'll stay in Dortmund this year. We might get him next summer. You just don't know, do you? It's going to be a long transfer saga. I don't think we'll sign him this summer. We might not sign him at all, but it's still going to be a busy and probably exciting summer no matter what, because we're going to have to sign a lot of players.
Yeah, there's 2 or 3 players mentioned instead of getting Jude in, and I was like, no, they're not going to even touch the sides compared to what I've seen of Jude. But again, we'll have to see. I mean, like you said, it was like that with Van Dijk, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We're not getting him, and all of a sudden we
got
ended
him.
up with him. I mean, where did this whisper come from? Did it come from within inside the club, someone saying we're not signing it? Or was there a statement? Or was it just speculation and rumour?
The Bellingham side, sorry, this one.
Yeah, the Bellingham
one. I think it seems that, if you believe what you read, which is always something that maybe you shouldn't do, unless you buy the book. But I think with Bellingham, it looks like we've made an offer of, I don't know, around 80 odd mil. They're looking for 130 odd mil, so they just said no, laughed us out the park. And then we've now in a position where they're probably annoyed with us, so we have to make a decision on whether we can afford to go for them. I think a lot of people have read that Liverpool's bid being so far away from what they want that means we've got no chance of signing them. And obviously, when people like Paul Drees are saying it, obviously it's not an official statement, but he's very rarely wrong, you see. But at the same time, that there's definitely a pool of journalists that Liverpool speak to, and that's a message that's been put out that we're no longer in the running. But is that a smokescreen or is that the truth? We'll find out. The optimist in you says it's a smokescreen and we can still sign them, but there's still going to have to be other business done anyway. So even if they put them on a back burner for a bit, they look at who the next options are, and we need to go and sign 2, 3, 4 players anyway, don't we? So it's still going to be a busy summer, and whether it's with or without Bellingham, it's still going to be an exciting one.
I just thought it'd be worth getting your view on it, because I've heard that many rumours, and you don't know what's the truth. And you know who you can rely on in the press. Like you've mentioned names there, and there's certain people when the facts are right. And I thought if anyone's got an idea, you'll be able to be pretty close. So that's why I
wouldn't know about that.
Well, you're not far away. You know what I mean. You're speaking to the right people. So
we'll see.
We'll see.
Going off on a tangent slightly, but it's linked to a future potential favourite Liverpool player. Who's been your favourite Liverpool player of the past who you've seen or you've written about, Pete?
Yes, I think originally as a kid, I think my first one was Emile Heskey. I always thought he was he was someone I loved when I was little. My dad used to take the mick out of me a bit for it, but I can never say it wasn't him. And the first time I wrote for Liverpool and they got paid for it, I got invited in with Dave Cottrell, and he basically said, if you could speak to anyone, who would you speak to? And I said to him, and he said, well, the Leicester game's coming up, we can line up an interview if you want. That was the first thing I did was speak to him, which was amazing.
Brilliant.
Yeah, to have him was great. But obviously, I think the main one with Gerrard still, you can't help but look at him and just but it makes me it just still makes your heart skip a beat because you remember what he did for you and what still could happen in the future. I don't know whether it will, but and then you've got Klopp today and Van Dijk, Salah. And obviously, thankfully, there's a lot to pick from, isn't there? But I think. Originally, it's Heskey, probably all time is Gerrard, probably best player I've seen is Suarez, and then there's quite a few others at the moment who I'd be more than happy to speak to and write about, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I liked Emile Heskey, to be honest, but I used to call him a yard dog, but he's our yard dog, you know what I mean? Because he did a great job. I mean, he slugged around. He did what you asked him, that was.
Well, that treble season, because I spoke to him, I remember researching it, he was the only forward player who started every cup final in that season. So I think the people we had and the wingers and all that, he was the only forward player who started every single one, which I think says a lot for his role in the team. I think he's he's a teammate player, isn't he? I think he's someone you don't probably appreciate unless you play alongside him or watch him every week. Even though he's a bit before my time, but I know as Liverpool fans got the chance to do, and especially that season when we won the treble, he was unbelievable, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. So what's next in the pipeline, book-wise? Have you got anything on the table?
I think so. I think I'm in talks with Tommy Lawrence's family, so maybe something alongside there. So to do something about him, which would be which should be good. So obviously that'd be interesting as well because it's a similar period to the Billy Liddell book, but obviously it's kind of picking up where that one left off. So it'd be interesting to go a bit more in depth onto that period. And obviously he was probably another one who was a little bit unfortunate to not be born 10, 15 years later. Obviously, we know Ray Clements as the best keeper our Liverpool have ever had, but still, it took it off Tommy Lawrence, didn't he? So there could have been a few more trophies, and that had the years been turned around a little bit. So I think that should be an interesting one. Nothing's fully sorted yet, but I think that looks like it could be the next one for me.
Have you seen that clip?
I love Tommy Lawrence. Sorry, Terry. I love Tommy Lawrence. Thought he was brilliant. I really did.
He was the goalie when I was standing in the boys' cop. I was watching him. But did you ever see, you as well, Steve, that there's a random television clip where a reporter, he's asking people in a shopping centre question, about football. And he says, do you have any memories of Liverpool and Everton games? And he says, yeah, I was a goalkeeper. He said, who are you? I'm Tommy Lawrence. And it was him. It was just a random selection by this journalist asking questions.
Yeah. He asked him about the final. Do you remember the so-and-so final or whatever it was? And he said, yeah, I played in it. And
I played in it.
It was like, what?
I mean, that was it. So the WhatsApp group I'm in, so I'm with his two kids, it's called I Played in it, because we were talking about that.
Yeah, I played it. Yeah.
So it's definitely not a title we sorted yet, but that was it. They were talking about the semi-final when Liverpool played Everton. And
that was it.
Yeah, so he was literally saying, I played in it. So as you said, I think that went viral and goes viral every time it comes out now, because it's still such a crazy one. Northwest tonight, I think it was, but so I'm sure that'll definitely be something that we'll look into for the next one if that happens.
Sounds
it's
great.
An awesome clip. It's really, really funny, isn't it? So and you're talking to Stephen and all the family, are you, about all that, or is it very, very early days? Or
it's still early. I think we could have pushed it out to wait for the publishers to confirm, and obviously with this one coming out soon, it's on the back burner a little bit, but maybe next month I can start really getting into it, and
cool.
It should be something exciting to coming up next.
Yeah, look forward to that. So far, you've been writing non-fiction about football. Have you got a novel tucked away in one of the bottom drawers there in your cupboard, or one in your head? Bit of purely fiction work.
No,
I thought you were going to pick a book up then. I thought you were going to go, look at that.
Yeah, no, not yet. No, it's not something really, to be honest with you. Obviously, I saw you were Jeff Goldham that you said you had on before as well, and he did this, it's not novel, and he did this stuff on Liverpool and Everton as well, wasn't it? The two fans, and I don't know. It's never there's a lot of I have a little folder on my phone when I always screenshot stuff, and there's ideas that I'd like to build upon and stuff like that. So it's things that I'd like to look of, but I don't know. Maybe if I become a bit more established and something like that, that'd be something I could do, because I'm still trying to find my feet and find a way the best way to write, obviously. But I just I like telling the true stories, to be honest. And obviously, I'm not saying any slight on otherwise, but I think with by Billy Liddell and a lot of other players that I've looked at, I think there's so much history in football, and there's so many people that we're also wrapped up in. Jude Bellingham, who's never played a second for Liverpool at the moment, and we forget about the players who played all these years ago. And obviously, in this book, I've tried to shine a light on some people that play the fans today will never have heard of. But I think that's the type of thing I like, people whose lives are maybe going out of living memory, and just try and reintroduce them to a modern audience, and just say, you don't have to be so wrapped up in which midfielder will Liverpool sign this summer, when you can actually just get yourselves involved in what happened in the past. And it's probably a more interesting story than the same story 5 million times, which is part of what my job is. But that's what happens today, and I think there's plenty of time and space for the real people who might be forgotten.
Yeah, I suppose writing fiction is probably difficult for you, because your main focus is football, and it's all about history of football, or speculating what may happen in the future. So if I was in your position, I think fiction would be really difficult to do,
Yeah, well, it's not something I've done since school either, so I wouldn't back myself to be very good either. I'd probably have to do a few warm-ups, a few pre-season friendlies and elsewhere, and then come up with me full England cap after that one. But yeah, it may be something for the future, as I say, but it's not something at the moment I've really thought too much into.
All right.
I'm just going to ask, I've got a final question for you, but just before we do that one, where do you think we'll end up this season, position-wise? Do you think we'll creep into the top 6 or not? We won't make top 4, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. I think we had to win at least 2 of those 3 hard games we had, didn't we, to be in the mix, and we haven't. Yeah. But I'm still an eternal optimist who still thinks we could go on a run, but this is what's been going wrong all season. I think, Leeds away will be another good barometer of how the end of the season will be, because we're terrible away from home, and we can't really do much anyway. I think we'll still be good at Anfield. I think, maybe 5th, 6th, but is it worth coming in those positions? You almost want us not to finish in Europe.
Yeah, true.
10 years. I think it was 10 years ago. Next season, it'll be when we came second under Rodgers, and we had no Europe then. So, yeah, maybe that might help us. But I'd say probably 6th place, and Europa League football, here we come.
Thursday nights.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see, won't we? It's one of them, isn't it? We've still got 9 games left, and the other year we had that run where we won every one of our last 10. And that put us, actually, we finished 3rd that season. And everyone was like, you'll be lucky if you make the top 4. But anyway, let's see.
It could happen. Just no harm in believing, is there?
Yeah. Right, anyway, finally from me, I've got to finally get around to that last question. What advice would you give to someone coming into book writing for the first time who's going to do similar books to you, or, books on, say someone came up to you and said, I'm going to write all about Tranmere Rovers or any team. What advice would you give them as a writer?
Yeah, start earlier than I did, and don't leave it last minute. But no, I don't do that. I'll be missing. But I just if you enjoy it, that's what it's for. And I managed to get into it by doing a lot of free stuff myself, and not expecting to make millions off it. You got to do it because you want to do it. Obviously, aspirations in the future of doing something good and big is what you're in it for. But I think maybe don't expect to be the front page of the Echo and selling out arenas doing your book tour. Just do it because you love it, and then if you maybe $10 later you'll be doing that because you're good at it, because you started off doing it just because you love it, not because you're in it for the money or the fame or anything something stupid like that. You're just doing it because that's what interests you, and that's what I'm doing. I'm not saying I am going to do any of those things in the future, but it's just nice to have a dream, but also this make that part of your dream, make it a step on to where you want to be, and hopefully you enjoy it, because that's all you need to be doing.
Fair enough. Right, brilliant.
Excellent advice.
Yeah.
On that note, time's caught up with us. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you again, Pete. Best of luck for the book launch, and let's keep in touch as we have been.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for all your help. Thanks for the review, and if book launch is a massive one, if anyone can come along, I'd really appreciate it. It'll help raise money for charity, and if you can grab a copy of the book as well, or instead, that'd be great.
Hope it goes well. I'm double booked that night. I've already got another, not a book launch. It's a writer's chat in Wrexham to go to. So I'm stuffed with that one, so I can't go to yours as well.
That's fine. Don't worry. I'll let you know.
Right.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
Hope it goes well. Yeah.
Cheers,
Thanks,
mate.
Pete.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.